Hi everyone, my name is Ross Phillips. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist in the state of California, and one of my specialties is addiction. Today I'd like to talk to you about addiction and the family. We talk about the addicted family system. Some of us like to say that addiction is a family disease. Sometimes you may hear somebody say, "Well, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm just hurting myself. So what's the big problem? Don't, just leave me alone." In fact, addiction is a disease that affects everybody. First of all, what is addiction? Addiction is considered to be a brain disorder because it involves functional changes to brain circuits, which involve reward, stress, and self control. Addiction is characterized by compulsive and often harmful pursuits of substance or behaviors such as gambling, gaming, shopping. So it's not only reserved for alcohol and drug use. Moving forward in this video, when I talk about addicts or addiction, I'll be covering, I'm talking about all of these different behaviors. What are some signs of addiction? Showing obsessive behaviors towards drugs and these other behaviors. Losing money, spending too much money. It could be on gambling, could be on medical bills, could be on fines. Maybe getting a DUI, somebody had to pay a fine and get bailed out of jail. All of these things add to stress within a family. Typical characteristic of addiction is the obsession of getting our drug of choice or our behavior of choice, the thing that we're addicted to. We are completely obsessed about it. We need it. We think we need it. And our brain truly believes that we need it. So, when an addict says, "I'm not hurting anybody else," well, hurt can be caused by obvious reasons such as car accidents, getting a DUI, financial loss, medical bills, etc., losing their job. Abuse is also common, unfortunately. Abuse can involve physical abuse. Somebody's addicted. They get into a place of self-hatred. They may not admit that, but they don't want to be addicted. They would love to start. People start out having a couple drinks and feeling good. Going gambling a little bit, going to the casino and feeling good. But for some people, these turn into obsessions and addictions, and they can be scary. The addict does not want to be that. They didn't say one day, "Oh, I want to be an addict," and be completely obsessed about something. That's not what they want. So they get angry, they feel fearful, and they will lash out at those around them oftentimes. So this could be physically. If this is happening to you, please seek help. Less obvious can be emotional abuse, shouting at people, blaming others, trying to make others feel guilty for their behaviors, their own behaviors, and even more subtly and often these behaviors about to talk about can also be long lasting, unfortunately, and that's being neglectful. The addict can be so obsessed by using their drug or their behavior that they could be sitting in a room with their children right next to them, but can be completely emotionally disconnected because all they're thinking about is how they're going to be able to use their drug. How can I go out, sneak out and go gambling? When can I go on my computer and go shopping again? And so they're not connected. They're not emotionally connected to their family members. And unfortunately for children and spouses, this can be devastating in the long term. So there's definitely emotional strain within the household, within the family, extended family as well. And we need to look at what we can do. It's very important to realize that we cannot control ultimately cannot control our addicted loved ones. So there's groups, there's also therapy. You can go to group therapy, you could talk to a therapist. There's a free group called Al-Anon, which is a 12-step group similar to Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's for loved ones of the addicts. One of their sayings is that they're the three C's. We did not cause our loved one's addiction. We cannot cure our loved one's addiction, and we cannot control our loved one's addiction. So this premise starts to free us up. When we realize that we are not responsible and that we cannot directly control or help our loved one, that can free us up to look at other strategies. First of all, is taking care of ourselves. How do we do that? We start with having boundaries with our addicted loved ones. We stop enabling them. Perhaps we are giving financial support to them while they go out and use their drug of choice. We know this, but we feel bad. We feel sorry for them, so we want to help them. We want them to be comfortable. But in the long run, we're just hurting them. Addiction is progressive. It does not get better. It is not curable. It is treatable, however, similar to, let's say, diabetes. Diabetes is not curable, however, it's treatable. And if we do take the right steps on a daily basis, it can be treated and one can live a full life. Same with addiction. So if we are enabling the addict to continue in their pursuing their destructive behavior, we're not helping. So that could mean dialing down financial support. It could mean changing our household so that this person needs to leave the house because they're creating too much chaos and destruction. Or maybe we need to extricate ourselves. Maybe we need to leave. So those are some strategies. Having boundaries on emotionally, as well, is very important. So educating ourselves, learning about addiction, extremely helpful. Helping ourselves by staying healthy. Oftentimes we get so stressed out. The loved one of the addict becomes so stressed. They lose sleep. They're not eating properly. They're not taking care of their own health, because we become obsessed as well. The loved one, similar to the addict who's obsessed about their drug of choice or their behavior, this happens to the loved one. They become obsessed with the addict and trying to help them, and then we forget about ourselves, and it affects our health as well. It can be helpful to look at addiction as a disease because that can help us become more understanding that it's not a moral failing. It's not by choice. It is by it's a progressive illness that's only getting worse. So if we can look at that as a disease and try to help our loved ones in that way with compassion and love and support with very strong boundaries, those are the kind of the key ingredients. And maybe at some point when our loved one realizes that they need help and they want help, maybe we can be there for them when they are ready. And that's really kind of the best that we can do, I think. So I encourage you all to, if you are in the unfortunate position of having a loved one who is suffering from addiction, remember that everybody in the family is probably suffering. So do the best you can to educate yourselves, get support, and hopefully at some point when your loved one is ready to seek help, you will be there for them. Thank you very much, and hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.